right, let's have some fun.
All right. We've already started.
Self-hypnosis.
Yes.
We need like Metallica to start shredding when we talk about self-hypnosis. That'd be insane. Really simple process is organic self-hypnosis. So the idea here at a high level is just helping hypnotists get better at utilization. That's the meta thing I'm teaching. So you can practice the skill and then you go work with a client. Suddenly you start to notice things. You start to really slow down. And it helps those kind of awkward moments you have in sessions with clients when you can just kind of check in with yourself. So it's a really fast way to do that. I have a 5-minute self-hypnosis routine. I do like little sets of 20 seconds and then I'm feeling good. And so the idea here is that we want to use experience as the gateway into trance, then trance as the gateway into learning. Because we always are experiencing things, aren't we?
Yeah.
And the way we color those experiences, we're not really consciously doing that initially. We might start to think about it and deliberate about it. Like when you stub your toe, I don't go, toe, you need to hurt, right? It just kind of happens automatically. If I get anxious, I just feel anxious. It's just happening. Well, why don't we just back into that, use that emotion, use that experience, and then we can back into the unconscious mind that way very quickly, and I don't have to set stuff up. So that's kind of a fun way to do it. So organic hypnosis, organic self-hypnosis, leverages clients' natural experiences, creating reflective spaces for growth without relying on specific techniques. So that's fun. We're focusing on being fully present. We're shifting focus from what is the right technique, what is the right question, what is the right induction method, what do I need to do to go into trance? We're just allowing things to happen spontaneously, and then we're using that. So there's an old expression in the industry, they talk about how all roads lead to Rome. With this approach, all roads are Rome, right? Because we're already doing it now. We're just joining the reality of the moment. The moment-to-moment experience becomes our gateway. So I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna walk you all through a thought experiment I use when I'm contemplating making changes to methodology or problems I have. And so I think there's a multidimensional value here. Let me know your thoughts. So you can close your eyes if you want to. What I want you to do is just imagine a group of early humans. And they're gathered around a warm, flickering fire as the night envelopes them. The darkness is filled with the sounds of rustling leaves, distant animal calls, yet the fire provides a comforting glow. You can feel that warmth, creating a space of safety and connection. And amidst the chaos of what it took to survive back then, our early humans still made a conscious decision to focus their attention on one speaker at a time. What do you think that felt like? Give yourself a moment to consider. Listening, exploring, becoming aware of different things, discovering what people really mean, creating that safe space for them to really learn. They're feeling the warmth as the individuals listen intently, not merely with their ears, but with their entire being, valuing the wisdom each person shared, feeling not just the warmth from the fire, but from each other's presence. Absorbing all aspects of the person in front of them's communication, but also noticing things happening inside themselves. Signals their unconscious mind are sending them. And that group gathered not just to listen, but to explore. The warmth of the fire encourages them to bravely share strategies to survive, maybe changes in weather observations they noticed. Before you know it, they feel comfortable challenging old assumptions. Because of that warmth, they can welcome new ideas. encouraging them to explore their internal landscapes, revealing deeper truths. And of course, they're becoming aware. Stories unfold with the fire's glow, balancing awareness of their immediate surroundings, but also how these learnings can apply to their future needs, ensuring they're safe, yet prepared. Being aware of those present sensations in the broader life context as you feel that fire's glow. And as ideas are shared and the fire crackles, moments of wondering spark realization. Like observing a previously unknown pattern. Maybe it's animal behavior. Maybe it was the way berries were growing. And that fire providing that safe, warm space for vulnerability and sharing. Each person speaks unhurried, enveloped by warmth and the supported presence of the group. And that fire can be that internal space. Allow those insights to unfold without judgment. Don't try to do anything to them. Just acknowledge them and experience them. Embody that campfire's warmth and openness for reflection. And when you're ready, take a deep breath in. Exhale slowly. Allow your presence to come back to the room. Okay, so as you're coming back here, what do you think it would be like? Be one of the people around that fire, having that experience. Realize that's probably the foundation of society. Early humans sitting together, sharing their needs, discovering things about one another. Maybe we should set up camp over here, maybe over there. What happens if we put seeds in the ground? What do you think it'd be like to be a part of that? Everybody raise your hand when you get a moment. If you had any insights there you want to share. Yeah, go ahead.
Probably, if I were in that gathering, I would feel a sense of community.
Yeah.
And a safe place.
Yeah. That's awesome. What do you suppose it'd be like to experience that? In terms of things you're dealing with.
Probably safeness to sharing values, and I mean, if you're in that atmosphere, I would think I would feel safe to share things that I probably wouldn't share if I was inhibited by outside forces.
Right.
That's how I would feel.
And those outside forces are still there, and we can still feel safe just because we decide to have that moment with one another.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. And I don't know about y'all, most of my problems, the worst part is the fear I have to deal with them. I deal with the thing, feeling pretty good. Right? Usually it's less of a challenge. The biggest challenge is that resistance I have to pass through to actually take action and do something about it. That's wild. I think that's very good. Thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful.
Welcome.
That's really insightful. What'd you want to say?
Yes, it's a more collectivist way of life.
Yeah.
In a more individual way of life, people spend more mental energy on being self-critical, on evaluating how do I stand in relationship to this group as this outside thing. But if you know that you're a part of the circle and that your place is valued as much as you value everyone else's place there, you don't feel so self-critical. You are a natural expression of how that group is understanding itself.
That's really good.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. That is really good.
It's a hell of a place to be. That's pretty good.
Because when I was in the circle, I felt I was in one of them. Like, this is amazing. Like, it's so empowering.
Yeah.
I don't have time for the teeny tiny shit that worries me all the time.
Right.
we're in survival kind of mode, but there's this community also that's surviving. I love it.
Yeah,
Put
it's
it
beautiful.
in beautiful words. That's what I felt.
That's really cool. Did you have something, Daryl?
Yeah, the thing that came to me most was the sense of belonging. And the thing that it reminded me so much of is that I have like a small community group, and we would gather over at my house and do like a sound journey. And what we do at the end is we pass around a talking stick, and each person gets a chance to share their experience. And they don't have to share. Some people don't ever share, but there's a lot of times where people will say, during the sound journey I experienced this, and then other people remember something that they experienced, so it helps them improve their quality of experience. But really it's all grounded in that sense of belonging. And even like with the induction to begin it, you have dogs, there's cars that drive by, and I will say, and any sound that you hear, somebody snoring or a dog barking, just know that you're protected by the animals.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Notice that you're never alone. And these sounds are like instruments in a symphony. Allow them to just join in and deepen your experience.
I love that, Daryl. One thing, just from an organic sort of approach, you're just letting them use the experience of the moment.
Yeah.
Right? I can create trance, or we can just use the trance that's already occurring right in front of us. There's a sound, it takes your attention over there. Well, that can be that reflective moment where I come back, or maybe I just put my attention there for a moment and feel safe, like you said. That's just, there's so many things there. That's really good. Thank you, man.
I was doing it. Sorry. Go ahead. Oh, you're good. I was part of a group hypnosis, and the guy was leading it. He was doing it next to a train. I said, and now there's someone jumping on the train, coming to give you a message. Who's that person? I was like, dang, that's genius.
That's really good. That's really good. That's cool. Talk about utilization. Brilliant stuff. That's really good. Okay. So let's kind of shake it out for a sec. And let's take a slow, deep breath in. One more experience I want to do here. Inhale, exhale slowly. Really just ride the wave of that exhale. Take a slow, deep breath in. Exhale even slower. And just let yourself go back to that moment. The humans are there, listening, exploring, becoming aware, discovering things together. Enjoying that space, that presence, one another. Maybe some share, maybe some don't, but they still get to enjoy that space, knowing they can if they want to. Just for a moment, I'm going to be silent for about 20 seconds here. As you're picturing that scene, I want you to imagine being in the fire. The fire's rolling all this. And take your time now. Just experience that fully. Don't judge what comes up for you. Acknowledge it, experience it fully. Okay. Well, how's everybody doing?
Great.
Great. Okay. Anybody completely unaffected? Feeling like, hey, I'm not really having much of a reaction to this at all. Whatever
That
you-
one I had some trouble with it.
That's
with the
interesting.
fire.
Yeah.
Did you?
See.
Yeah.
And what was it like for you to not? What were your experiences?
I
If you
don't
wanna
know.
share.
Huh?
If you want to share.
Oh yeah, I like sharing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you could probably tell. I think I wasn't quite sure what you wanted Were we in the fire? Were we
Yeah.
surrounded by the fire?
Mhm.
Okay. So, in that aspect, what I felt, and I did feel something then, is I felt warmth. And then for me, warmth is a sense of love and safety and comfort. So that's what I felt.
I love it. That's
So
cool.
I guess I did feel something.
No, it's good. I do leave these things open-ended because I think here's why. Here's the meta, and this isn't applying to you necessarily. I started teaching about sometime last year, maybe 18 months ago, and I have students come up with these questions. And the best answer I can give them most often is to not answer their question, and that is annoying for people because they really want to know, like. But what's the most important thing I can do for them is be the fire and give them that space to explore and find, am I the fire? Am I outside of the fire? But just like they can connect the things themselves.
Okay.
It does take a lot of patience on my part, and I have to have some awkward moments with people because I don't care about what I cover. I want to create an environment where they can discover things. And I assume whatever you connect to, I could be wrong, I assume whatever you connect to, it's going to be more valuable than anything I have to say to you.
Yeah.
And I think it's easier for you to remember because it came from you.
Yeah. I wouldn't be the fire because that would just
Yeah.
burst into flame in my head and that would equal pain.
Right.
So I wouldn't choose to ever be that.
And we could explore that and kind of see what there's stuff there. But I don't feel a need to judge someone, I don't. For all I know, your unconscious mind has that there for a very important reason. And we could ease into it. But you just feel the love and the warmth. That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, I don't
Right?
do,
That's cool.
you know.
Yeah, you had something.
Yeah. I was like, did I hear him right?
Yeah.
Does he want me to go in the fire?
Yeah, that was
And
my
then
Being the
first.
fire, yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm like, well, he seems very trustworthy. And I'm like, I'm feeling love in this group. Okay.
That's
Yeah. So, but then I felt warmth.
Yeah.
Once I was like, this is safe. No, did I
That's so
hear it
cool.
right?
Yeah,
This
that's
is so fun.
my initial thought.
Be in the fire, be burning. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Didn't know we were going to be. It's a different type of self-hypnosis. That's great.
Having hot flashes, yeah.
How flammable you are. Yeah, that's good.
This is one way self-hypnosis.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, Daniel, go ahead.
I had a really kind of emotional experience.
Yeah.
The first part of it, when we were sitting around the fire, it was really nice to listen to. I could hear them all sharing and talking and stuff, and then they stopped and waited and asked me, and it was something that I had heard in the initial panel thing.
Yeah.
That was like, oh, that's why I'm not doing this. So I was telling them why I wasn't doing that, and we were all figuring out, well, what should we do, and then different ways. And then when you said to be the fire, it was holy man, I was as it was weird. It was me and me and me and me and me, all my parts. We were all figuring out everything around the fire. And then
Nice.
as I was talking about what I was worried about, the fire was just taking it and getting rid of it. It was being spoken, but it was, I don't know, it was taking it away. And then there was a different level where I was a source of warmth and light, so that people could see what the issue was, and just kind of shedding light on that aspect. And then I started to cry because I was needed.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
I was essential to them.
I'm trying not to get emotional too.
I have Kleenex.
It was just really nice to be a part of that and to be so needed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. I
Yeah.
try.
I think I have 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I
think,
had some in my shirt last night.
Yes, you did. That was not Kleenex. That was money.
So I just want to point out one emergent thing here. And Danielle highlighted this well. It's came up a handful of times. There's a multidimensionality. You did a great job too talking about. There's this metaphor of the fire, and there's our internals. And when my internals are, I don't want to say correct, but when I'm not judging my internals in a session, when I'm not judging the moment to moment, how's this session going? When I am just fully present with that person, I like to think of this as being the fire. Sometimes I'm just with the person asking the questions. The magic just kind of happens for me. And if you've seen any of my demos, I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't even know, sometimes I don't even know what the hell these people are saying to me, but it means the world to them. And that's all I need. I have 100% faith, and I believe their unconscious mind can solve these problems. And I'm more just there facilitating that process. And I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what they say, what they do, what beliefs they bring into the session. So I just want to point that out. I want to put that out as a frame of reference. And I think what will be beautiful is as this integrates through the next couple of days, your unconscious mind will kind of figure out how to do that for you. You won't even have to think about it. Your mind will just start doing it, right? You'll be in a session. You can check in with yourself, feel what you're feeling, come back and be present. It's beautiful. And when we have those vulnerable moments, the client knows we really care. I used to think I had to be very buttoned up and professional, right? Like almost like I was running them through a process, versus they get to be the process, and we get to connect to that in a very authentic way. And whatever they experience, it's fine. I appreciate you sharing. That was beautiful. Okay. Ooh, emotions. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. So about the experience of being the fire.
Yeah.
A fire is an inanimate object, and imagining that you are an animal is a little bit different than imagining that you are an object, because an animal has sensory organs. An animal can see through its eyes and hear through its ears, feel through its body. But inanimate objects do not have that ability. So you're imagining something that is impossible, and yet the physical matter of the fire, even though it can't experience that, the idea of the fire can still have these sensations that we associate with it, and then through experiencing those sensations we can allow this idea of the fire to experience itself through us.
That's so good. I'm thinking so many things all at once. So it's beautiful.
This is all very much, I think, in line with
that's so cool.
2,000-year-old Neoplatonist philosophy. These ancient Greeks of Alexandria, this is how they would bring this into the room. But yeah, that's, I think, essentially what was going on with me. I was understanding, okay, I'm not experiencing the fire's experience of itself, but I'm experiencing this idea of fire merging with it. And what that felt like was I'm just energy, and that energy is now moving in the shape of a fire. It's flickering like a fire. It has that vibrance.
So I gotta point this out because I think it's just so good. We haven't even got to the self-hypnosis part yet, by the way. That's going to be a bit more subtle and simple.
I mean, that was like guided meditation.
Yeah, I'm just setting reference frames so that you have kind of a different way to experience it. The key principle, I just feel like I have to point this out. Everyone's having different experiences here, significantly different. Clients have significantly different experiences, and we talked about how that moment, for all intents and purposes, it might be the foundation of society. Our clients live in a society, which means their experiences are going to be informed differently. But if we can now have the flexibility to help them navigate their internal reality, this work gets a lot easier. And for me to do that, I can't really be prepared because I don't know what it's going to be. I might know they want to quit smoking. I might know they want to lose weight. They have some presenting problem. I don't know what's behind that for them. And so when I approach change work with these sort of internals, it gets easy, right? And that's why you don't need pre-talks, because I'm not going to before talk anything. I just want to know. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Work the way you work. If you're getting results and you're happy, right? Just let this fill in where it can. This is just my opinion. This is just how I work with people. But I want that opportunity for people to connect to these very powerful insights for themselves. So I think I probably said that a different way before. Hopefully that's advancing the concepts a little bit. Anybody else have something they want to share? A question? Anything kind of funky coming up for anybody? Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this is a question, but as I'll describe my
Yeah, sure.
imagination of the fire, and then the thought that I had about that, which was, and I think clients might do this too, and I know they do this a lot actually, is analyze and want to know the why.
Yeah.
What does it mean? So that's what came up for me. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, Vinny, what does it mean? Are you going to tell
love it.
me? So my thing was, first of all, the story. I got an excitement. Like, I know I think what part of it was like, wow, I never really thought about how we've evolved and how we would sit around the fire and like we take so much for granted.
Yeah.
We don't know where it came from. We don't even think about it. So that was really interesting to like, oh my God, how did people come up with fire at all? It was like, that was kind of fun. And then I got that kind of excitement, like, I don't know what the excitement was exactly about, but
Yeah.
but also the thought that we've lost that.
Yeah.
We're still innovating and doing all these things, but we've lost that ability to listen to each other.
It's
Like
beautiful. Yeah.
that. And then in the fire, I scared myself a little bit because I had that
We're
same
gonna
thought,
think
like, fire, France, and then I was like, okay, just do it, just go in the fire.
Oh,
And
this is so
then
good.
I became the face. It was kind of like the Wizard of Oz, like face in the fire. And then I was like, I am powerful, really powerful in the fire. But then I had the thought, like, well, what does that mean? Oh no, am I some kind of narcissistic?
Oh my
hoover?
goodness.
Like probably not, because I had that thought.
Right.
But then I was like, okay, what does that mean? And then I wanted you to tell me what it meant. And that's what our clients do. They come in and they're like, I had this dream. What does it mean? And I'm like, it means nothing. It's just a dream. It's your subconscious, blah, blah, blah. But that is something. Do you get that a lot? Like, what does it mean? Was wanting you to be like the oracle of what things mean?
This is just something I sometimes I do this with clients. Very rare though. It's a kind of a different thing when I'm working. This is something I do with hypnotists to help them accelerate their instincts. And actually, I'm so glad you brought this up. There's a couple there. I do want to circle back to that, and I'll provide more detail. If we can chat afterward. Kind of how I work with people that are very analytical. That's so good though. Here's why. There's an angle on this I want to approach. So, let me ask y'all, as people are sharing their experiences, do you kind of notice that part of you, it's such a weird question, like it's almost like it's speaking to another part of yourself, like you hear them say something, you go, oh yeah, that's true, I do kind of,
It's a
I kind of already
connection.
knew that in a way, not already knew that, like you're discovering something you already knew. Are you having that kind of moment now?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Forgot why I wanted to bring that up. It's
But it was
profound.
good.
These through lines. And I'm not too theoretical. I don't have a lot of weird stuff here, but I do notice this when I'm working with clients and I approach change work this way. It's like they already have the answers. Answer is probably not the right word, but they already have this sort of innate sense of what's going on. I was going to say truth there for a second, but I feel like that's a bit loaded. And what's really cool, like you said about we've lost that. There's the technological advancement. Fire is a technology. It absolutely was back then.
Yeah.
There's that happening, and like you said, I think that's a very beautiful distinction. The thing we lost is the connection around it, and this ability to really understand people and help them understand themselves, and how we go about doing that. That's why you can use whatever you want in hypnosis. How you do the how. Well, the how becomes irrelevant at one point. Yeah, I have friends that do just past life regression. I had one spontaneously happen in a training. I don't do that ever. I have 5-star reviews on Yelp for days. I don't use that methodology. I'm not going to sit here and judge that person for working that way. Like, I don't want you happy clients. How do we do the how? That's what I'm interested in. So I appreciate that a lot, and that might start to give clues about if someone's anxious. But we can go into that more. I'm happy to, you know, a little bit. I just kind of want to keep us flowing in a direction. That's really good. I wrote it down. Analytical clients. So gratitude. So yeah, the gratitude's beautiful. So we call it organic hypnosis. Right? Stuff that's already happening that we can tap into. Can I get a time check?
Yeah, you have 25 minutes left.
Okay, cool. Got a bunch of reflective questions that are going to drive learnings through. Okay. Is there anything else someone wants to share?
I just want to make a comment to your statement or your comment, what you said about if we felt anything by all the sharing. And I think what came to my head is, and what we're missing sometimes is a feeling of community.
Yeah.
Because without community, you don't really have a society, and without society, without a society, you're going to have chaos. So you need to feel like you're all involved in the same thing, maybe even differently, different opinions, different religions, whatever it is, so that you can connect. And I think that's why we all felt a little bit, because it touched everyone in some way. I mean, who doesn't want to feel welcomed? Who doesn't want to feel warmth? Who doesn't want to feel loved?
Yeah, that's a good point. Do you think getting in touch with this, whatever this is, can help your marketing in a way that they were talking about in terms of showing up authentically? If you have this type of a presence on video, it might bring people to you. If you're on a live video, and I don't have an answer to that question, but that's okay because I'm human, right? And no one has every answer to every question. No expert has every answer to every question in an area, but that's okay. I was going to say, I do have a YouTube video up called How to Get Prospective Clients to Book Calls Without Being a Spammy Weirdo Creep. That's on YouTube. And it's kind of boring because it's me actually doing it. Like, I'm looking at my camera and I'm doing all the things people say not to do, and I made $9,000 that day, right? And so you can do it, and it's just there. It's really boring. I can send you the transcript if you prefer to learn that way. There's a hypnotist in the video going, "Oh my God," because they're seeing the calls come in. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not. There's no cleverness to what I'm doing. I'm just asking questions, being curious. There's a couple hundred people on, so maybe that's less impressive when you know that. But I believe a month later, some of those people signed up. Right? They go, "Hey, this is great." But I think there's something about that presence. So I kind of took your thing and went in a weird direction with it. But that resource is available if anybody wants it. It's free. It's up on YouTube. I warn you, it's not produced at all. It's literally a live video I downloaded and uploaded. And said, "Here you go, guys. Here's some help." Need something? No. Okay. Cool. So let's do some self-hypnosis now. Cool. So is there? Maybe you want to feel something good. Maybe you have a challenge in your life, something you're dealing with. All I want you to do is just come up with something you want to work on. And again, maybe it's just you want to feel great. Maybe there's a memory from the past that you really enjoyed. I don't care what it is. You're in a safe space, you're amongst friends. I promise I'm not going to judge you, okay? We're going to be doing a real quick, we're going to go in and come back, in and come back. So you can't actually do this wrong. If it doesn't work, just say, "Hey, I didn't have an experience there." I'm not going to judge you, and it's a skill we all learn. This is probably the most powerful thing I've done. Like, I lost 50 pounds in the last year, and I use this thing 3 to 5 minutes a day, a few times a week, maybe 3-4 times a week. I'm human and I forget to take care of myself like everybody else does. Right. Okay. So think about the thing you want. Let's take a slow, deep breath in. Exhale slowly. Now, as you think about that thing you want, just want you to scan from the top of your head slowly all the way down to the bottom of your feet. Notice what you feel as you think about that thing. Take your time. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. Take all the time you need. As you scan your body, notice anything peculiar or your attention being drawn to something. Just give me a nod once you've found that. Beautiful. Excellent. Very good. Now I want you just to tune into that sensation. What I mean by tune in is become aware of it and experience it fully without any judgment. Don't try to do anything to it. Just observe it and feel it. We're going to do this for about 20-30 seconds. Take your time. All right. Go ahead and come back to the room. Take your time. So anybody want to share what they experienced when they just sat with them? If you had no effect, that's a share too. Okay. So whatever you experience, I tell clients, the only wrong answer is what's not real. Okay. I don't care. Like, it's just what you experience is what we want to talk about. Oh, anybody want to share? Yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
I noticed this small little part. It looked like a child's Lego person, but like one of the toddler Lego persons, the bigger, one. And it was so small, and it just felt insignificant. And it was like just a feeling of not sure what to do, just a sad little part that wasn't sure. And it was interesting to just watch it and notice that it just didn't move. It didn't know where to go or what to do, and it just sat there.
So interesting.
It was neat to just watch it.
God, I love that. It's so interesting. And did you have any feelings about? I know you were doing it without judgment. That doesn't mean you don't feel things.
I did.
Yeah.
I immediately was like, oh my gosh, like it's okay, like get in here, I just wanted to like hug it and pick it up and just let it know that there's no reason to be insignificant. Like you're so insignificant, or you're so significant. Like get in this, and like come join us. But
that's cool.
It was very separate from everything else.
That's really cool. Wow. Thank you for sharing. That's beautiful. Anybody else have an experience they want to share?
Yeah, I did. So my issue is consistency.
Yeah.
And so it was really surprising. I felt this, like, in my, abdominal area, like this the tension, like kind of like, like butterflies, not butterflies, but that tension that when something is, you're not, I don't know. It was
So
like
interesting.
Yeah, it was like, I felt it there, and so it was hard to just sit and experience it.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because I had no idea that was even there around this. And it was also interesting to observe how much I wanted to just, I don't know, run away from that or change it or avoid it, or which is kind of like my favorite thing to do when I'm afraid is avoid.
Yep. Yeah.
And so, just kept watching it and trying to experience it, and it just got less, just got it's transformed. We've got
Beautiful.
less.
Yeah. You skip
Less, but we're still there. That's interesting.
That's cool. Yeah, I love it because I like to use the metaphor about jumping into the belly of the beast, right?
Yeah.
And it's like so much of life is just that. Like it's just into the abyss, and I don't know what's going to happen. But if we have the right internals, we check into ourselves. Like you said, I wasn't even aware that's there. I have this. That's why I do it. Like I'm confused, emotionally bewildered. It's like you check in, you go, oh, I have feelings. Well, that's weird. I'm a human being with feelings. I should probably like learn about these a little bit. And does it make sense a little bit, maybe tenuously right now, how this can enhance client work? Being able to check in with ourselves, being able to navigate our own internal reality when it comes time to have a client in front of you. They
That
have
makes
something
sense.
weird happen. Maybe it's out of scope, out of what you're used to seeing. Well, I don't have to have expectations now because we can just start to use this. And the breakthroughs are deep and fast, right? I feel like feels like some people might be on the verge of a couple now. We'll see what happens here. Anybody else want something to share there? Yeah.
The dream work you mentioned, there's been a lot of research done on that with hypnosis, and one reason psychologists don't pay as much attention to dreams as they used to is it's been proven without a doubt. You can give by post-hypnotic suggestion a suggestion that people have certain kind of dreams, and they will have those kind of dreams.
Beautiful.
And so you can use that therapeutically with people, and I've done that a few times with some cases I've had. But the other thing is, T.X. Barber is unusual. He was a research psychologist, but he started out as a stage hypnotist, then he became a clinical psychologist, then he became a research psychologist. So he has an unusual perspective. He thinks among the highly hypnotizable, and then from the extension from that, you can take that back to just average people. But among the highly hypnotizable, he thinks there's three different types of people. There's people who are amnesia prone. Those are the ones that every hypnotist loves because they may have spontaneous amnesia in the session, but they love everything you did, and they're really good at post-hypnotic suggestion. But the second group are fantasy prone, and then the third group are just highly motivated people who are extremely good hypnotic subjects, but they're not as powerful as the first two prone. But the first two, the amnesia prone, they want you when you do hypnosis to go through every detail of their experience as you list that.
Wow.
So like if you're going to the beach, they want you to describe the sand, is it warm in their feet, and blah, blah. And they love that. They just go nuts with it. But the fantasy prone are just the opposite. They want you to point them in a direction, and they'll fill in all the blanks after that.
That's
and
cool.
they're two different types of people. They're both highly hypnotizable, but they are very different in what they enjoy in hypnosis. So once again, you've got to set up these situations for the kind of subject. Now I've had subjects where I just point them down the path, and then they take off, and there's
so cool.
They're filling in all the blanks, and after we have such a good time, sort of trying to interpret what does that mean. But if you can throw in there a suggestion, maybe leading into that the experience they're going to have will provide some healing therapeutic experience that can be very helpful. I had one lady, she was really strange. 10 years before she came to see me, she couldn't, from that point forward, she couldn't have stuff put in her mouth, and she couldn't go to the dentist.
Oh my gosh.
She'd gag. She just gagged. Well, I asked the same question all of you. I asked, what happened 10 years ago? Well, 10 years ago, her life was falling apart in many ways. Her husband had cancer, and there were many things happening. But we couldn't identify anything that had to do with putting stuff in your mouth.
Right.
And so I didn't know what to do, so I thought, well, that was the first session. I thought, well, I'll just play around a little bit. And so I gave her the post-hypnotic suggestion. She'd have a healing therapeutic dream, and then she would keep a pad, she'd write it down, and she'd bring it in the next session.
Right.
Oh, she brought in her whole testimony because she had totally repressed a memory, which was medically verifiable because it was a medical procedure. She'd gone in for a routine procedure about something, and it went south, and without anesthesia, they had to hold her arms down and shove a tube down her throat.
Oh my God.
And that's what caused the gagging thing.
Yeah.
But see, the reason she came in was she had to go to the dentist. Her
Yeah.
teeth were in bad shape, but she couldn't go to the dentist because she couldn't put stuff in. So then it just became a matter of, now once she knew what the original root cause was,
Yeah.
it just became a matter of teaching her how to distract herself so that they could actually put stuff in her mouth. And
Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
she was an educated person. She had a master's degree. You know, these
It's a powerful thing.
yeah. So
that's a very
but you
powerful
can
thing.
give suggestions to make use of these kind of experiences, because just sitting in the room listening right now to people's reaction, you know, that could easily become a part of their progress to change, whatever that change is for that person.
So I'll show you guys something really cool. Yeah, I think you're gonna like this next. That's cool. What are we on time? So make sure my
Almost to the 10-minute mark.
Okay, cool. This is perfect. So I appreciate you sharing that. I love that she didn't know and we're able to discover it. That's really beautiful. Gosh, we got to pick up on that one. We'll circle back to that in a second once we get to the next phase here. Anything else, folks? Good. Cool. Yeah.
On the subject of using hypnosis to influence dreams, that is something I've done. I've used self-hypnosis to influence the content of my dreams and also give myself precognitive dreams.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Okay. So where did we leave us? So we went inward, we had different experiences, we felt different things. That was interesting. Okay, think about that same problem. Okay. We'll just go inward one more time, then we're gonna go to the next phase after this. So deep breath in, exhale slowly. Thinking about that problem. Or the thing that you want, right? It can be a pleasure thing, doesn't matter. Scanning the top of your head, all the way down to the bottom of your toes, exploring your inner reality, becoming aware of things, listening to signals from your unconscious mind. Wonder what you'll discover as you give yourself that space. Top of your head, all the way down to your toes, bottom of your feet. Once you found that sensation, go ahead and nod your head. Beautiful. Beautiful. Good. Now, I want you just to tune in a similar way. Experience that fully. No judgment. It's coming from you. Perhaps it has something to teach you. Who knows?
Yeah.
But we're not worried about the learning now. We just want to experience it. Take your time. I'll do about 20 seconds here. Back. Take your time. Did you notice anything different the second time? Nobody?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
And look, I didn't have an effect. I had this weird internal conflict. That just becomes the thing. Why do I have an internal conflict? I don't know what he's saying. I feel this thing in my chest. Put your mind there now, right? What did you experience that was different?
Because you said go through it or sit with it or be with it. And my analytical mind started. I was like, oh, what does this relate to the fire? Because I shouldn't, but I did.
Yeah.
And I went into the fire. When I went into the fire, I went into a beautiful, peaceful void.
Beautiful.
So I found myself in that beautiful, peaceful void, going through it.
Love that. That's so cool. Anybody else notice a shift? Was it exactly the same both times? Yeah.
I noticed my Lego person shared a scene where I was little, my brother was just born, and I was trying to show my mom what I had made with the Lego blocks, but she was too busy taking care of my brother. So I felt like I built this thing, and I was like wanting her to be like, oh, you did such a great job, and instead, I was just kind of like, oh, he was. I love my brother, and I know he needed to be taken care of. But at that time, like, I was the firstborn, so I was the most important child until he came, and I didn't know what to do with that.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, it's just a misunderstanding.
Yeah, the unconscious mind is always communicating. It's hard. We know that as hypnotists. We also know it can be difficult to explore that and really understand it. That's a beautiful thing there. So just giving ourselves the space to go inward and kind of reflect. It's amazing what you notice afterward. Okay, so who had a negative thing they're working on, sensation-wise? Who has a positive thing? Cool, okay. So this time, if it's a positive thing, I want you just to feel that sensation in your body. I just want you to give yourself a single one-word command. Increase, more, louder, whatever it is. You're just going to say it in your mind, right, as you feel it. More, louder, brighter, whatever it is. Keep it really simple. Yes is fine. Just say yes. If it's negative, less, quieter, softer. Just stick with one word though. Don't use a bunch, okay? Just a really simple command. Now that we've gotten in touch with our unconscious mind and we've listened to it, let's see what happens when we give it a command. Very curious to see what happens here. Okay, so we'll just do 20 seconds again. So slow, deep breath in. Exhale slowly. Scan from the top of your head all the way down to the bottom of your feet. Feeling what you feel. Notice what you notice. Get in touch with that sensation. And when you give this command, it's like the sun will come up tomorrow. Just know it. Just know it when you say it. But don't judge it. It's only 20 seconds of that, starting now. All right. Let's come on back. And would anybody like to share your experience with that? Yeah, go ahead, Daryl.
This was so bizarre. So, my dryer at home, the little latch thing for the door, there's a little plastic piece in there that fell off or broke a long time ago. I never really addressed it because it still works most of the time. But sometimes when you close it, if the thing pops inward, you gotta take the door apart, and that's not fun. Especially if you don't have a drill, you know, you're doing it by hand. So first time we had to fix it, we did it with the screwdriver. Took forever. But I did buy this like impact drill because I don't know hardware, and I bought like this impact driver versus a drill. I didn't know the difference, and so anyway, that worked wonders to be able to take it apart. And the thing is the last time it broke was at the most inopportune time.
Yeah.
And I finally got around to ordering a replacement part, and it was like $6, but for $1 more you could get 2 of them. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. And now that's supposed to be at my house right now. It's supposed to be delivered yesterday. And so the thing was, I was just talking to my son, and I was showing him how to close it so that it doesn't break, because his mom would be really mad if that wasn't working. So I just said, you know, the next time it breaks, I'll fix it, because I got the parts that came in, and I was just like, dude, you're gonna have to do it anyways.
Yeah.
Why don't you do it while you have the time to do it, instead of waiting to when it breaks at the most inopportune time?
Beautiful.
Call that legitimate suffering.
Yeah. So I'm learning to just do the things ahead of time. You know, whether it's filling up my car with gas, even though it's only on half a tank, versus waiting until it starts nagging. I like that attention sometimes. I like it. It's like, hey, take care of me. I'm like, okay, since you cried, I'll come take care of you. But it's like, I don't have to let things get to a point where it becomes pain and suffering. I can just be responsible and integrate that shit into my life.
It's so nice. Yeah. That's
Thank
true.
you, dryer.
Yeah. Right? The challenges are we refer to these as opportunities to evolve, OTEs, in organic hypnosis. So the challenges just become opportunities to evolve. It's not, there's that whole failure is feedback, but failure is fucking failure, dude. I fail all the time. But it's also an opportunity to evolve. I'm not going to just reframe the reality of how bad that feels when I have a catastrophe. Like, that sucks, and I can feel that, but there's so much there to learn. Sorry, I swore. I don't know why.
No, it's all right. It's because I did it. You made me feel safe by going, oh, you're going to say shit, I'll say it.
I didn't even
But
notice.
far.
I love that story.
One
I love
important
it.
thing about this, I almost punished myself and dismissed this going, you're being distracted, you're not following his directions. And I said, no, wait a minute, all
No
of
such
this is
Yeah.
relevant.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so I went with it and I said, thank you for teaching me this lesson.
You? Oh man.
Yeah.
How much time? We got to be getting close to.
Great story.
Your
We got a
dryer's
couple
like
minutes
Mr.
left.
Miyagi.
Yeah, exactly. I will listen, I will
Mr.
listen.
Dryagi.
Okay.
I'm maturing finally, slowly.
So, anybody unaffected by that experience? Anybody give a command? Did you have that?
I was unaffected.
Beautiful. So I want you just for a moment, try this. Just feel that thing for a second, and just get in touch with it. And I want you just to ask yourself one simple question. May or may not. This might not have an effect. Is this helping me? And just go inward and ask that for a second.
Do you want me to answer that?
No, just feel it.
Okay.
Ask your internal self. Never said that before. Just feel that sensation, and just ask yourself, is this helping me? And just notice what happens. Maybe nothing. Take a couple minutes. Wow. I'll come back here. We're not going to get through the reflection questions. That's okay. I probably should have put in, I usually teach this for 2 hours. I just want to give people a good sense of it, the mechanics. The reflective questions are more just kind of reinforcing learning. But I get the sense that everybody here is resourceful enough to apply something that they learned here. So I'm glad I saved that for the end. Any questions for me before we wrap up here? No?
Can I just make a comment? I was just gonna say it privately, but so I help people with neurodiversity, and this is so useful. That was a perfect example of how this can be another tool in my toolbox for neurodiverse people. Find their own answers.
That's so cool.
Because
I love
that
it.
was, I mean, I'm not making any assumptions, but that was kind of a.
Yeah, everybody knows I'm special.
Okay.
No.
I'm teasing.
That's what
That's good.
neurodiversity
I love
means.
it.
It means that your brain works in a different way than all of it.
Yeah.
It was the best story ever. Really, the best story ever.
I gotta say, it's like, yeah, there's these continuums and these things that we're learning about. I just can't go into a session with a client because every client is different. This is something Erickson said, so I'm plagiarizing him. The relationship in the session is something to be discovered. Right? And so we have all these really cool theories and models, and I learned so much from them, and I study them, and I go to everybody's, you'll see me. I'll go to your class, I'll take notes. I'm really interested in what you have to say. And there's gonna be an amalgamation later, and I'm gonna go, holy, she said that, I get it. I can use it this way with my thing. Right? And it's beautiful like that. Forgot where I was going with that. Ooh, okay. Every client's different. And so there is that spectrum, but also I could have people that I guess we would call not neurodivergent. I can't treat them the same way. Because they're just different.
Neurodivergent.
How I do.
Neurodiversity is diverse, and everybody's really neurodivergent.
Yeah.
We're all
Yeah. So that makes me really happy to hear you say that, because that's beautiful. I just wanted to point out. I approach everybody kind of with that openness. So I don't know what I'm doing. Otherwise, it's fun to have a plan, but I like not planning now. Everything's so much faster.
Yeah.
They go, oh, it's this thing about Legos. I go, oh, let's talk about the Legos. You know, we had to hang out.
Yeah.
So are we wrapping up? Okay, thank you all. This was so cool. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had a blast.
That was good.
Cool. Yes, let's give it a round of applause.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, your shoe. I just saw your shoes.
That was a magic.
That was a magic.
I wanted that hug. Make it count.